You are listening now to the Spirituality Now podcast, the show that is solely focused on practical spirituality, leadership, and mindset skills with the aim and purpose of supporting you master your life. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor. I'm so excited. I feel that today's podcast is going to take us into multiverses, more deeply into the here and now, which is an interesting vortex to entertain as a concept. And I'm excited because my guest is someone that I admire for years. He was a collaborator, incredible contributor for the only film so far that I have produced. I'm co-producing a second documentary film, and he has truly contributed for the benefit of humanity, for a lot of the topics of remote viewing, remote influencing that thousands, if not millions of people are interested in. And he has delivered messages globally about a concept or an energy. I will explore that through the podcast about the one, and really heart-centered teacher, scientist, genius, and we are in different locations right now recording, and we're going to do the best with technology to navigate these topics of consciousness. Remember very quickly that the Spirituality Now podcast is philanthropic based. We are sponsored by the La Flor Teaches International, a coaching, consulting, and mentoring systemic and transgenerational company supporting leaders, corporations, individuals to just get their stuff together and really leave a legacy that matters. And we're also produced by Brilliant Futures Productions, and that is solely focused on content that is conscious creation and conscious content production. So we have a great team. Shout out to the team, Sofia, Saul, David, and anybody else that support us, because without them, we could not be here. And anyway, so let me introduce you to our guest. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, please follow, click the link on here, the bell, ring the bell, subscribe. I just came to notice a couple of our very good listeners. One of them, I want to name him publicly. His name is Alex Luki. He has been a guest with us. He watches every single podcast, makes note of every single one, learns about everyone, and he has become such an incredible supporter for us as a listener, as a fan. And he brought to our attention that YouTube needed me to promote it. So please support us. The more you support us, the more we can grow. And the more we can grow, we can better our services in order to serve you. Anyway, so those of you who are listening, we're in every platform of all the podcasts. Mainly we're focusing right now on Spotify, but we're also on iTunes, Haha Radio, Spreaker, Spotify, you name it. Anyways, enough of that. So today we have an interview with an incredible teacher, friend, and really just good human. His name is Mr. Gerald O'Donnell, that you are lucky if you are, well, fortunate if you are watching him on YouTube. He's really handsome gentleman. And Gerald O'Donnell is the founder of the Academy of Remote Viewing and Remote Influencing, which is also known as ARVARI. A world-renowned remote viewer, he was employed for several years by a Western intelligence agency. He has been recognized as a visionary in mind consciousness research and remote viewing and influencing. He's also a certified hypnotherapist. Since 1997, he has dedicated his life to guiding his students in harnessing the highest levels of their creative energy so that they can rapidly manifest their innermost desires. His healing and empowering meditations have helped thousands of seekers, I'm going to raise my hand here, turn their thoughts into reality and begin their transformative journey towards oneness. And again, Gerald, all of our guests sent us these very humble bios, and it's such an honor to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. We've done a couple of shows already, but it's
Yeah.
nice to reconnect. Yeah.
So we have a couple of questions to start with. And I'm going to
Yeah.
start with the global situation in the world. In light of the current global challenges that we are experiencing, what insights can you, and we will go into how you started remote viewing. I know this has been a question that you have answered thousands, if not millions of times in all the interviews. But I really wanted to start with this based on our audience that sent us some questions. What insights can does remote viewing can offer about the probable futures we are facing right now? And I know we're starting with such a big question, but this is how I want to frame this, because I think that having you here in the show is such a treat and a gift. That what is it of your work, of what you are receiving? What can you remote viewing wise? What are the probable futures that we are facing right now?
Okay. Usually I speak about personal probable futures or group probable futures, which are really timelines that are branching off at some point. And it's done in conjunction with the creator. The sub-creators decide at what point they're going to branch off, and then give the choice of manifestation to people who are conscious. Well, but if they're really conscious and they're aware and they care for each other and they care for the planet and beyond, then they might be given a path where their inner thoughts really project outside and they create, which is the way creation operates anyway. What we have in our creation is something called the matrix, and it's done for a purpose because most of the human entities, which are really consciousnesses, points of awareness, or if you want, points of observation, have have are still like in kindergarten. This is like we still in kindergarten, even though a lot of people think that they've reached the highest level. It's not it. This is kindergarten, and the way you train these entities is by making them experience as many experiences as they can of all sorts. So a lot of people are telling me, well, why am I only experiencing bad things, and when somebody else is experiencing beautiful life? There is always a reason for that. It's not because you're getting punished. It's because you're getting trained to see how you react. Will you give up your connection? Will you only operate based on the program of the matrix, which is the matrix is a bypass that bypasses your thoughts. It does not so much listen to your thoughts as much as it projects a movie. It's like if you go on a Netflix and you watch a movie, you cannot change a movie and create a new movie because your thoughts are changing it. But since creation is all based on thought, the matrix, which I would call a dark matrix, is based on. There's always two forces in creation. There's the force of unification, which is the only reality anyway, because there's only one being in creation. What we call God or the one or the creator or the source is the same thing. It's just one immense mind covering everything and dreaming itself into reality. So we consider to be the cosmos is the one dreaming itself into what he's projecting as a cosmos. And there are many different cosmoses, and then there are many different creations, and there are many different types of creation and laws of physics, and there are many. This can go ad infinitum because this is a playful entity. He's creating this for its own entertainment and learning, because it's not only entertainment; he's becoming a better creator through creation. So this creation is at a very crucial point now, because we were given this matrix, which had more, if you want, negative unawareness. By negative I mean unawareness, polarity, so that the tendency was to separate entities more and more. First through creation, so that you have a baby that you think is you, but it's not really you, and it will change into a different perspective of operation, a different personality, and then also across. We have different colors of skin. We have different so-called backgrounds. We speak many languages, multiple languages, And then we evolve differently, and we have different religions, or so-called religions, and we different branches within the religions. Everything is there so that the amount of experience, even in kindergarten, is as vast as you can get. To the one, to God, this is a very interesting creation, because he is creating what he is not, what he could never be. He's finally managed to create a dream whereby when he goes into his own dream, he forgets who he is, because there's so many entities everywhere, and he has so many situations that he needs to solve or try to interact with, that particular stress, if you want, on the creator makes him forget that in reality it's himself. He's dreaming those characters at some level. It doesn't mean that the highest level is dreaming individually the characters, but at some level he's dreaming all the characters. And the conjunction, if you want, the environment, call it space-time for us, and nature is common. It's already programmed in the matrix. It's operating on subroutines. Nature is purely God. We cannot create the way nature does. But it's there to help us. So what is the trip of man is really the trip of God. There is no other trip. You were born God, then you walk in drags, you forget who you are, you wear masks, whether there is COVID or not, we're all wearing a mask, which is the personality, or especially the ego. We present ourselves in a way by which we would like other people to like us or have control over other people. But that's not our real self. Our real self is still the one. So we are all experiencing what it is like to operate in separation, which does not exist in reality at the level of the one. And that operation is very crucial. It's very important to the one. So in reality, this creation from its inception was the creation when the greatest amount of free will was given to the entities. Because when the one is flowing into the entities, because he's thought, he can flow into his character. He can just go inside a character. Imagine having a character that you're watching on a virtual reality movie, and you have your avatar. You can literally go deeply inside the avatar and make the avatar make a right turn and say that, whatever. In this type of creation, the one has decided not to do this, at least not often. So he allows a lot of free will to all the entities to see different types of realities, how far the separation can go. So he knew that separation is fun because we play with our children, we make love to our wives or girlfriend and boyfriends, and then we expand this idea of merging perceptions, really personalities, to experience everything, because this is the most incredible. Like, imagine the taste of food. Other creations don't have taste like this. And I speak as a Frenchman. I mean, really, the expansive nature of mixture of taste buds, what they can create in your mind, because it's really being created in your mind, is exquisite, and it changes all the time. So the ability to create within the story of the Matrix is magnificent. The problem was that from the inception, the one knew that there would be a time where the separation, not because the separation are more acute, but because the tools we have, call it tools to control or to go and destroy, because we were given the ability to destroy each other. Because of this, we were, it was known that there would be a time within so-called cause and effect, whereby either the one enters his creation much more, and then we might not even realize, but some people would. He's controlling the plot so that it rebalances itself. Or there would be a time where the creation would just go to smithereens because chaos is going to be so great because of the lack of awareness, and especially because of the lack of the ability to create from within. You never create anything outside. There is no outside. When I'm walking in the room here and I go to nature, this is happening inside of me. I'm not only talking about my brain, I'm talking to my being. This is my reality, my bubble. I see my bubble. And in order to have a common reality with others, they all have bubbles that are somehow related to me. So we share the same environment, we share the same stories. But the real creation is a creation of thought, because that's all there is thought. And the power of thought to create is immense. As a matter of fact, at the level of the one, it's infinite. So the closer you get to the one, the more you can create, and the more powerful your anger can be. So if you have anger and you're close to the level of the one, you have a fight, an argument, you will destroy not only a person, you can destroy a whole creation. By the way, every single person is a creation. It's a universe in itself. And there's an old saying in many traditions, old tradition, that say when you kill a human being, you're killing a universe. And nobody really understood that. It's true. Because we all have a bubble reality. It's like you are in your own holodeck, and then you're watching things, and somebody else is wearing the virtual reality set, and they see the same environment together, but they're interacting in that environment. So the avatars, which we are, have to make a decision. Is this the way by which we want to continue, or do we want to be really more powerful and experience the power of our own thoughts? And in order to experience the power of our own thoughts, we have to coordinate our realities with each other instead of fighting and competing and adjusting, and then only basing ourselves on the system that the matrix is proponing and exposing to us, because that's the role of the matrix. We have to basically say, we don't want this, we're going to take over the matrix, and we're going to create a matrix that has more power, more free will, but free will to create beautiful creations, not to argue with each other constantly. So we are basically in front of a fork in creation. And this is coming really soon. I wouldn't say this. When I say soon, I mean it's potentially this year. There is a fork in creation between the old matrix, which will continue with its own characters, and most probably will not be surviving very long, and the people who have worked within themselves to try to connect to the higher levels of the one, whether they call it by name or don't call it by name is irrelevant. The higher levels where there is more unity, more communication, and more love. Because the one is the ultimate love, because he never perceives that he's loving somebody else. He's only loving himself or itself. There is no love that he can have to somebody else. It's only when he goes himself deep into the dream and he's experiencing very strongly certain characters more than others that he may suddenly feel that he gets involved in the whole drama. And in the same way as when you go into a movie and then you go inside the movie in the situation really deeply, and you choose to be the hero or the whatever, you are going to be vouching and then rooting for that hero. But so the same thing happens from the one, but the one can have both. It still keeps the perspective of being the one. That is always there. It's like a conduct. So as we're getting now to this year, what I'm getting is that there is going to be a split, a fork, and this has already happened many times. But this is bigger than usual, because not only will this creation split, but most of the creations of the one will split. Basically, he's creating a new system. He figures that we have learned as himself, as the facet of himself, all that there was to learn about good, evil, male, female, war, peace, rich, being poor, which is basically the learning for the one. And then as he feels that he has learned enough of it, he wants to learn something of a different nature and a higher degree. So he's already prepared a matrix, which will be a far lighter and better and more powerful matrix for the souls that will then transit to that new creation, and then will become sub-creators, literally sub-creators. They will be like what they used to call man-gods. And it's ready. So when the shift happens, which will happen, most people won't realize anything, because the one will simply go quiet and stop dreaming for a while, which you can do at any time. It's very rare, but he will go quiet. And then there's no time and space, so we cannot talk about time and space. But there will be memory banks of souls that he has kept for eons, not only souls that exist now, souls from before and souls from other creation, that he would translate into the new creation. So I asked him, is it the new creation, at least for me, is it going to look similar to this? And he said, yes, but you will not remember most everything that you've experienced here. That only what is important for you.
Okay, Gerald, I'm gonna
So
pause there because wait. I
yeah,
I love I this is so deep because I'm feeling beyond the words, and I this is a conversation, a conversation that is rare to have. It's so rich, and I want to pause just to say, to highlight a couple of the things that you've shared, just for our audience. What a rich answer to a question that was sent by one of our the people that knows you and wanted to do that. But I love that you said, just want to highlight right now, summarizing, that we're in kindergarten. That feels true to me. That this is a matrix that we've been bypassing, or we're about to bypass. That there's the path is of unification with God, the one, the mind that is dreaming itself into the dream. That is so exciting to me. Because what makes it, Gerald? And this is a question that I have from that. And then I will ask you the questions that people send. But what makes it? If the one is dreaming itself, which feels right to me, into this existence, into this madness, into this drama, into forgetfulness, into splitting itself in diversity, which, we in the podcast, we celebrate unity in diversity, hopefully create harmony into this diversity that for some delusional way, right? The illusion that we create, that in Buddhism is called one of the three things, the three poisons, right? There's anger, delusion, and desire, right? And we create those things, but the one is still dreaming about it to train himself or itself, herself, all of it, into whatever next matrix. But Gerald, what makes the one, like for example, how does one entity called Gerald, called Yvonne, called I just thought about Sarah Blakely, the creator of Spans. How how does the one connect with that particular entity, you, Sarah, which is still the same, but it seems to me that it listens more to that creation, right? That it listens more to even the bad guys, not just to put it in quotations.
yeah.
What makes it that these entities have more noise or voice, or louder speakers into the world created by the one?
Okay.
What? Because as you were sharing, I was like, I gotta up my volume. If the one, I am the one, not if. Well, I am the one. I'm created
Yeah.
by the one. I'm the one thought
Yeah.
creator. I gotta
You are the
up
one.
my request. I
That's right.
feel really
Exactly.
like,
You've answered yourself. You- Don't think that you are a little part of the one. You are the one. You're just a facet in the mirror. If let's say in the big diamond, you're just one of the facets, but you're the whole thing. And then it reflects through your facet, through the colors that are going through you, and you project a certain image reality to others and even to yourself. Very often you see yourself differently than others do, but that's not important. So this is who you're acting, but you don't ever lower yourself to think that you are just a biology that was born here and that will live one lifetime, or maybe will reincarnate into another lifetime, or maybe not, or will mix with another one. No, you're just the one. The real reincarnation is only the one, because we all the one. So the one is reincarnating. Yes, that's all he does. But
I love that.
you ask a good question. You ask a very good question. You said, why are we facing madness? Because the one wants to have an antagonistic being, what he calls the demonic side in front of him, that is a valid and valued antagonist, enemy, and he give him a lot of free will, because he then gets more involved in his own creation. Otherwise, he gets bored. It's not nice to say, but he does get bored. There was a movie that was made in France. I think it was in the beginning of this century or the end of the last century, and it was called Jerry's game, like Gerald, Jerry, Gery. And in that movie, which is really short, you see an old man in the Bois de Boulogne in Paris who is going down, sitting down in the Bois de Boulogne. He's alone. There's nobody there. The beautiful trees, but there's nobody, and he wants to play chess. So he sets up the board. Of course, he plays the light, so he's there. And then he has no one to play against him. So what does he do? He wakes up. He moves slowly because he has arthritis with age. That represents the one, of course. So he goes on the other side and he starts playing the black. Then he goes back and he starts playing the white. Then he goes, this is getting boring. I'm controlling all the characters in the movie, and I always know it's me. So I'm dreaming myself into me, but there's nothing to do, because I'm not being challenged. So he creates in the dream a character that will look and behave totally differently from his own personality. That character is aggressive. That character wants to win. That character is cruel, and it's a copy of his face, but in dark, in black. Okay, so that would be like the devil across. So he's playing the devil. In reality, he's dreaming the devil into his own reality, but he's allowing the devil free will. And of course, the devil is beating at the one, almost at the end. So then he goes, "Ooh, I got a problem. I'm getting beaten by my own creation now. So how do I get out of this one?" So he's thinking. So he faints death. He goes like, he's getting a heart attack from the stress, and in full. Of course, the one cannot die. So the other one, who in reality knows that he's just a projection from the one, he's a character that the one projected, gets really afraid because he thinks that he's touching his own heart, trying to think, is it possible that I'm also dead? Because he's dead. How can God have died? So he said, so he checks his heart, and then he finds his heart, and he said, oh, I'm still alive. In reality, all the one did was to go underneath the table. So when he goes underneath the table, the one goes back on top of the table, and he turns around the chessboard. So he's winning, but he changes the memory banks. Like I told you, this is going to happen. Memory banks are going to be changed when we get to the next creation. We won't remember that we used to be such a great, wonderful person and a billionaire, and the other one is going to remember that he used to be a killer, a formidable killer, part of a terrorist group or whatever, because their memory is going to be gone. They're going to think of something else. So now he changes the game, so the devil is looking, and then he's saying, oh my God, I'm losing the game. That's it. In one move, I'm basically losing the game. And he gives up. Meaning like God can never lose because that he doesn't allow. Because if there would be no God, there would be no creation. But he allows the devil to play as far as possible, but he takes back creation in control. So when he takes back creation in control, he's creating with his own mind, and he's creating new memories for everybody. So at the end, the devil gives him a pair of teeth, new teeth, because the one has lost his teeth from age. And then he has his magnificent false teeth are like reflecting the color white, and he's all proud that he said, I won again. This is the story of creation. God cannot die. He can faint, he dies. He can make you believe that he's gone. He's not in your life. He's always in your life. He never died. You don't have to wait for him to come back because he's here. He never left. If he leaves you, you don't exist. You're not here. You understand?
Yeah, so just my very same breath is the evidence that God exists. If I was not breathed into existence right now, willing
Right.
that breath, like this is, I get you. So let's think about the concept and these luminaries, entities, beings called the Buddha, Sakyamuni, Siddhartha Gautama, right? And Christ, right? Which apparently Siddhartha remote view, which I'm going to say, I really believe that he remote viewed. These beings were remote viewers. He said in 500 years, someone with a little bit higher awareness of itself, at oneness with the one, that will recognize that he and his father is one, Jesus, will come. So entities like that, in individuated source, the one consciousness in the flesh. What I mean, I'm blown away right now because I just felt like, why am I playing such a really like, I'm a little shine here of the diamond when I'm the diamond, right? So, what does this type of beings, as either a metaphor or as a pointer or as a gateway, serve us to return to the awareness of the one, even though, and I know you can follow this, even though this reality is, as you just said, like the memory will be gone, is of impermanence, of emptiness. So how do we use, what pointers, what models, what tools do we use to access these, not only remembrance but elevate ourselves to shine as the God oneness diamond that we are, which is the diamond mind, right? And
Right.
this is so exciting for me.
Okay, so you exist within a diamond mind, but you imagine a big diamond. There is a lot of light on the top, but there is very little light on the bottom. We are at the bottom of the diamond. We call this a dark matrix because we are not aware of being the diamond yet. We're not reflecting each other in the idea that we are only reflecting each other. We're not forming groups, realizing that the group is just a manifestation also of the one. We're operating with old systems. Now you're asking me about the Illuminatis, about Jesus, about all every of this. These have a deep meaning, Illuminatis, but it's not related to humans per se. Now you ask something else. You ask, is it possible even to have God, the infinite God that creates, has unbounded intelligence? Of course, he learns better systems through creation too, but his intelligence is unbounded. There is no restriction. There's no IQ you can measure at that level. Even look at nature. If you show me somebody that can create a butterfly out of nothing or a flower, it doesn't exist. So anything, this intricacy of all the systems is God. So how can God go into a facet, especially a human being? Because he wants to. He can do anything he wants. He can go into a cat. He told me that when he created even the animals in this world, before he let them go, because they're not really concentrated in the same manner, because there's no question mark with the animals. If you leave nature to all the animals and to itself, it could continue forever in perfection. Nothing bad would happen with nature by itself. The only disturbance that happens on the face of the waters of creation is the humans. These are the question mark, because he wanted it so he has something to address and something to be challenged with. So you're asking me why, how do we reach a higher level? Is that what you asked, right? And how is
Well,
it
how do we
possible that he went?
transcend that? Yeah, because in Buddhism, just for a perspective of the diamond and the dark matrix, and I'm using obviously the limited thought forms that I have regarding Buddhism right now, which is the most accurate education system, as a pointer, not as a reality, right? Of like different realms. We have the semi-god realm, the demon realm, the ghost realm, the animal realm, and the human realm. And supposedly, in this dharma wheel, or this wheel of creation, the humans, yes, they're messed up. Yes, because of the split that we have created, because dividing ourselves from something that we cannot divide it, which is the one and God, we have created all these atrocities to ourselves, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
like the movie that you
it's
said.
not
Like
us.
what?
It's the one that created us in that manner.
Right.
So
So in that
right,
creation, right?
right.
In that, the humans doing that, like, uh, how, not how, because I think it's inevitable, even all my questions that fade, they're dissolving. Impermanence is like the one is resolving itself as the moment I'm speaking. Is a bizarre feeling that I have right now. But what will bring peace right now, like to someone like you and myself that are really committed to this, like waking up our minds, right, to waking up our hearts, to really supporting other human beings thrive, and know more of the one, or the one waking up more in our self, in our temporal self. what are the tools, Gerald? And then I want to ask you, when did you started communicating with the one? Because I'm all jumping on the questions that we prepare. But what is it? So what is where the one? How does the one wants us to wake up as the one itself in order to create this split that you said, that this higher matrix, better reality where we're not going to be the humans that destroy, but the God creator humans that we're meant to evolve into.
So, first of all, I'm going to go back just before we say that. You mentioned the Christ, you mentioned Buddha, you mentioned all those. Most of them had a message. They didn't come to impress people with miracles and walk on water, which means something else. He walked on water, means the highest water of creation he could walk. They came here not to impress, but to teach. They're trying to help the whole creation realize that the Son and the Father are one. And recognizing that the Son is not the totality of the Father when he is embodied in a biology, that would be impossible, because he would become totally schizophrenic. But he's connected to the one. So the messages come in order to teach, hopefully, the groupings around it for that time and for the future. It's always the same message. The problem is that people do not follow or focus so much on the message; they focus on the character. They don't even say, "I want to be like that character," which would be okay. I would like to be like Jesus and with the same level of connection. That's perfect. But they want for that character to come back, or they want to Buddha to come back, or they want for the Mahdi to come back if you're a Muslim, whatever. So these are just hopes that are focusing on the wrong thing. You don't want. It's not the character that's important to come back. First of all, you wouldn't come. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't recognize him because he would be looking differently and having a different age and speaking a different language. So it doesn't make any difference. However, the way you're going to recognize that it's the same part is that part is always coming with the same message. Why is that part coming from the same message? Because before creation started, period, the one separated a part of himself, which he's going to call the experiential part, which is basically him going down, dipping down inside his own dream and interacting with his own dream, and then coming out again and coming in again and coming out again. It's always the same part. And that part is called the first begotten because it's not created. It's himself. There's no creation yet. He just separates within himself an area that he's going to call the first begotten. And the first begotten is always here doing the job that the one needs him to do because it's the one. But it's always a message. He's bringing messages, trying to say, hey, calm down, chill out, smoke a little bit, whatever. Just don't go kill each other. There is no reason to kill each other. It's not a, don't take life as a yoke. It's a joke. It's a divine comedy. The one is entertaining himself through that divine comedy. There is something to this. So don't take everything that somebody has done to you so seriously and then wanting to have revenge and then especially fight for things that you have never witnessed. So learn to forgive because it was meant to be, because it was not for you to experience. It was for the one to experience how far things can happen and how great. If you don't have polarity, if you haven't suffered, you cannot have the pleasure of redemption.
Wow. Okay. Can you repeat that? I mean, every single word you're sharing is like it's just falling like diamond drops right now.
Right.
But
If you look at
it's very important
groupings
what you said.
Right. If you look at either personalities, individuals, or groupings that have suffered tremendously, there's always past that a moment of redemption of that same group when that group is given back its own self-governance and principle, and he's basically called to realize that they were the one anyway. It was not done to them on purpose. It was done so that the one experiences one side of the polarity so that he's in total joy when he goes into the other side. Because the only purpose of creation is joy. we are really taking it too seriously. That's the problem. If we could just understand that we're here to have fun and not feel guilty about it, then we will understand the one. I mean, imagine like I'm saying, sorry to say that, but imagine like a 10-year-old kid just enjoys creating and creating and creating. It can never die because he's eternal. So he creates and he creates and he creates and he does this thing. And then he says, well, how about if I merge this system with the other system, what will happen? And then he goes, sometimes it doesn't work, so we'll stop this because this is really getting too painful. But all he wants people to just realize who they are. They're here to play. It's like my fingers are aware, I think. I don't know, I don't talk much to my fingers, but I think they're aware that they're part of me and they're here to help me. And they're a very important part, because if I lose one finger, I'm going to have a problem, right? So, yes, I'm activating my fingers. At their level, they think that they're doing what they are told to do, and both are correct. Do you understand?
Gerald, and I know we're about, we have like 10 minutes left in the podcast, but you have to come back. You have to come back because
Yeah.
I feel that the messages, no, it's not even a message. It's like a, remembrance. I'm going to, I understand. And I want to go back to the aspect of suffering because, we've been thousands of years. Most spiritual traditions and spiritual teachings, even the presence of Buddha, which, by the way, I love that you said Buddha and Jesus didn't come to impress, they came here to teach. It was not about the messenger, it was the message. But then we all little kindergarteners get like, oh my gosh, the hero, the idol, and it has to fall in order for us to get the message, to get the teaching. Another great saying of wisdom that I love about life is that we didn't come here, to force each other to learn something, but to love each other and through there learn through the teachings, right? But how did you, Gerald? I think this is going to be phenomenal for people who listen. If you could feel, I didn't barely ask you questions because you are just a channel of you are, the one is speaking through you. So how did you connect it to the one? How was the first connection with the one that you became aware of the one?
I shouldn't tell you. I was born from that begotten, so of course I was born like this.
And
So
when were
when
you
you
able
when
to
you
verbalize
when you
that?
when you come from that area, you're not a created. Of course, my biology is created. My personality is created. Maybe I frustrate the one a lot. I'm sure. I've one day I'll tell you jokes about this, but that's part of the game. But the core of why I'm here is to be like a fountain of not of knowledge, but not regular knowledge. It's a fountain of truth, and truth is really simple. If you don't have a basis of joy and the truth of who you are, you cannot continue learning real knowledge. You're going to have fake knowledge, and the matrix is going to create everything based on what you think you are. We don't realize the matrix is not evil. She senses who we think we are in relationships to each other, to our culture, to our background, to what we think is history. History can be changed. Like in that movie, when he's playing chess, he's changing the memory banks. So you don't know if your grandfather was really your grandfather. I mean, you cannot prove this. You understand what I'm trying to say? That's the role of higher creators and the one. However, what is important is how you're going to react to events happening in front of you. And your reaction is really important. So when you're under stress, just take it easy. It's not at the end of the big dark night and the tremendous storms. There's always the sun that shines. It's a cycle. We are in a very difficult cycle. We're about to get past midnight. And then the light is going to increase now. The moon is going to decrease, and then the sun is coming soon.
I can feel that, This is the first time I remember, I don't know if you call it remote viewing or just having this seeing into my own personal futures, but I remember in 2019, 18, seeing, feeling already what was going to happen in 2020. And this year I had this this field of vision or visual of yes, things are about to intensify politically, fading. I just had Marianne Williamson in my home. I never imagined that, talking about from Biden to Trump to, it's just a bizarre concoction of the one experience itself. And
But
I'm
you have to
I'm
admit
just
it's a good
I'm
joke
playing.
though. It's a good
Well,
joke.
what you said that this is a world of joy of creation. This is
Yes,
in
it is.
Sanskrit. It's a lila,
Absolutely.
a play of consciousness,
Yeah.
right? Well, I
Lila,
do
right.
see
Right.
Gerald talking about you do probable futures and remote viewing and personal futures. I have never felt in my whole life. I've turned 52. So much joy for what is and what is it's like an anticipation, like a little kid since we're in kindergarten. It's like oh, like an amazing gift. So what can you say about that to complete this show today? I gotta invite you back just to have a couple of more if you are up to create like a series of because I think it will serve incredible the community in Latin America, the people that speak English, and we're focusing hopefully very soon to have the translation in Spanish. Well, we're working on that. But what is it? How can you transmit right now? What? So the people forgive, the people tuning into love, the people remember the one. How else can we like tuning into the facets of the diamond right now in order to shine and accrete this light that is evidently entering Earth? And what do we do when the one goes to sleep? That when you said that, I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't be
No, he
cursing.
doesn't go to sleep. He stops the dream for a while. He can stop the dream.
So what's going to happen? Because then I'm
Then
like,
he
I
already
understand.
has. He stopped this dream. It doesn't mean that he stops dreaming. The other one has
Oh,
a
yeah.
structure.
I'm like,
The the
shoot.
the, the new creation is already there, and then he translates. We're going to the new creation, and we're all going to be aware of it. This is not a biblical thing because it's been said in the Bible, and everybody's talking about the new world, and it's that's already there. But it's a matrix where we're going to be by far more powerful in creating what we really desire or want. As a matter of fact, you won't have to do special rituals or special, levels of mind and so on and so forth. You think, and it is. So, but be careful. So that's because you don't go curse somebody and call them a name, you may just turn into that. So you have to be really careful what you say, how you think, how you look at the other person, and always have a light-hearted approach. One day today is still the same one day that you had when you were 3 years old, but you were much far more excited when you were 3 years old. Everything looked beautiful. If you could go back to the child self and be in awe as far as the gift of life is, that you are part of the one receiving the gift of life, because the one is alive forever. So you're part of it. That's the only way you're going to be alive. Because if you're not part of the one, you don't exist. There's nothing that's outside of the one. The hardest part of the devil is still part of the one. It's still part of the one. It's in you. So when people say, "Oh, I'm going to fight the devil outside," how can you fight the devil outside? There is no devil outside. It's inside of you. Choose which one you want. Which wolf do you want to feed? Where are you going to put more food and energy to? And then put more food and energy into union and helping each other. This is where the Bible is not there because it's a moral principle, because it's a reality. See, it's trying to wake you up to who you are. Because the person across that you think is not nice or trying to achieve something against you, or you aren't nice, and you talk about giving charity only to the charity that you like and not the charity that you don't like, and then you walk over in the street and then you see, let's say, a poor person laying down on the side of the street and almost dying, and you don't look at it, that means that you have not understood that you're the one, because they're all the one. There is no higher one or lower one. Everybody's playing its role. And I got this year, because I didn't get messages for 2 years from the one, direct messages. And this year, on the 1st of January, on the website, probablefuture.com, I received the message, and he's saying it's beautiful. If we had time, I would read it.
Yeah, share with us the message, and that's the way we will close this one, because we're going to bring you back to have at least two more shows. So everybody pay attention. This is a message he received from the one, and yes.
Okay, let me get it. I'm sorry. That's
No,
fine.
in the meantime, I'm just highlighting, I love the message of the Buddha, and Jesus didn't come here to impress, but to teach. And how often, well, he finds the message, how often we get distracted by
Yeah, well,
the shining lights.
the message of the Buddha is watching his belly button. Why do you think he's watching his belly button? Because that's where he's watching, where he came out from. He's creating himself within himself. Because we all come out from the belly button into what we think is the eternal, the external world. He knows the circuitry. So he represents that perfection of begetting himself. The creation is really a creation when he's in all mind. He's aware of it, or it is aware of it. But it is also aware of the fact that this world is a difficult world and you're going to suffer a lot. Why? So that you enjoy, and you're going to be so happy when you finally get to a little bit more normal world. That's the way it is. And when you see people getting all upset or all worked out about a certain idea or situation, just tell them to chill. It's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay. And sooner than they know. All right, here, direct message from the One, January 1st, 2024. This is a message from the One addressed to all creation. From One originates all illusions of many. The many do not create the One, neither do they represent the One. All illusions come and disappear, leaving imprints for other illusions to imbue themselves with their presence and memories. No thing remains as it is. There is no static possibility in creation. Everything is dynamic and changing. The One creates the illusion of many in order to forget who it is, and allows for the many to rule and control temporarily its sense of being, of easiness, and all is done in the illusion to achieve such. All is done to affect pain, torture, and ignorance towards the One, so that the One does not awaken totally from his own dreaming cycle and keeps visiting realms after realms of dreams he created for himself by himself. Nothing else is real. Nothing else is truth. All illusion is falsehood necessary for the One to forget that he is but one solitary mind and that there is no second, no more. There comes a time when, after repeating similar situations over and over again, the One decides that there should be a moment where he regroups himself into pure thought and oneness of purpose. There comes a moment when the pain is so intense that it forces the One to stop dreaming for a moment and select other formats and visions for him to experience and project himself onto, using his immense imagination. There comes a time when the temporal needs to stop, when the dot bathing in infinity overcomes all, and everything contracts into reality, into truth. Nothing can stop the One from regaining his truth and let go of all falsehoods, all stories, all dreams. At the level of One, only One is. And now he's talking directly to all my dear illusions that I have loved and so dearly and kept vibrated in my mind for so long. I want to thank each and every one who participated in the grandest of illusion creation itself. You are and were all parts, fractals of my immense imagination, of creative pursuits. You were all loved. You only did what you were meant to do and operate with. There is no shame. There cannot be any punishment. You shall all be ingrained forever in the one's memory and records of creation, and some may be reprojected onto other worlds, other creations, other endeavors, and other adventures. Fear not what is not. Understand who you were and still are. The process of reintegration will be made easy and very healing towards you, for you all are me without any exception. How could it be different? Please rest, find peace, for soon you will rest in peace, in total stillness within me and be me, as there is none else but me. There never was and there cannot be. Be happy as we all come back together. Let go of your false dreams trying to grasp a sense of control and power, for all shall soon dissolve in the eternal. Why fear love? Love cannot fear. Love is me, and you in me. Rejoice, for this is a holy moment when the one rebalances itself from within itself by itself. Do not be distracted, but prepare in joy to be fully integrated in the true joy that has no end nor any beginning. Be calm. Help one another in the process of this dissolution of illusion. Accept truth. Let go of all programs. None are true. They were all created in order to create in segment illusions within illusions. We are all the children of my thought. You are all the children of my thought. My imaginings. You are all precious. You appeared in order to be part of the only reality within the only being, creation itself. And you did well, extremely well indeed. You all played your part by getting gifted programs and thought you espoused. Now it's time to rest and be happy with each other. Because as you become happy, I feel the happiness and it transforms my being. For that is all I seek, joy and peace. That should be all you also give each other, joy and pure peace. Remember how much I love you. Let this be the memory you carry to me as me. For you are me, and I love all of myself, all. That shall be all, the one.
Thank you for, with your own transmission and words, bring us this message that people can find also in your website. We're going to make sure to put all of the links for people to be able to follow ARVARI, the Academy, all your creations and offerings and newsletter and everything. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, Gerald, for
Can I
jumping in
mention
with
something?
us.
Just
Yes,
one thing
please. Yes, yes.
before we go. We have a course that's called the Portal. The whole purpose of the Portal is to deprogram you from, you cannot totally deprogram because they're part of your memory bank, but realizing what is important within you and cleanse yourself so you have a clear path between you and the one. Because the people, it's not the one that's blocking the connection. It's the humans with their stories and the concentration on past pain and the desire sometimes to have revenge and so on and so forth. We're blocking ourselves from being the one. So the course is extremely powerful. And most people that go through that course slowly, not with intensity, but being totally relaxed, in stillness, just listen to it, will have their subconscious reprogram so that it opens a path, a clear path to the one. And they will feel at that point that they are the one. And this is really, really, really crucial right now. You know, we cannot find the one on the outside or in a book. You have to experience it.
100%. 100%. And that course is available at any time. People can
Yeah,
join any.
yes. Yeah,
Perfect. So
it's called the
started.
Portal. As a matter of fact, I can announce if they want, they can wait 2-3 days. It's going to be cheaper. We're going to have a special because we're going
Well,
to start
yeah,
doing
but the
coaching.
podcast is going to come out, I think, in a couple of weeks. So by the time this comes out, people can still join, right? It doesn't matter
No.
where.
The course is already out. What we're going to come in a couple of weeks, what we're going to have direct interactions with students and other people.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So
So that
it's available there.
this become, yeah, it's available already now. Yes, it's called the Portal.
Perfect. Another courses that I really recommend, I remember we got the probable futures, the remote influence, the remote viewing, all of it, the elevator, everything. So we'll make sure to give your contact to everyone else that is going to listen. Gerald, thank you so much from the bottom of our
Thank
heart.
you.
And,
Thank you
and
also.
this was really powerful. Thank you, the one. And I send you all my love.
Thank you, the one too.
Yeah, thank you, the one, which is you, me,
You,
everyone, one. So thank you so much. And we will
we're
see
good
you
at act.
next week.
We're all
And
great actors, right?
oh, well, directors, actors, or
Actors and
forgetful,
producer, right? And forgetting, right?
everything.
Exactly.
So
Right.
thank you so much, everyone, and much, much love. Adios.
Much love to you.
We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere where you prefer to listen to your podcast. Make sure to check the links to everything we mentioned in this episode. For more news, future or past episodes, or for any other inquiry, please visit our website at delaflorteachings.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the Spirituality Now podcast.